Welcome back to the second session. Thank you for joining us again. We had a wonderful time, and please check the first session before you listen to this session. When you go to YouTube, it will bear the same date, and it will say part A, and this one is part B. So listen to the first session, and then you listen to this session. It will make sense for you. You connect. So thank you for coming. We meet here 9:30 a.m. 10 to 10:50 a.m. every Sunday. We are a household discussing matters pertaining to humanity. So please, you are welcome. And if there are no questions, I'll just continue maybe and finish up. Then we can have questions and discuss at the end. And unless there's a pressing question, or maybe let me have one person just summarize a bit as we do quickly, just for us to connect with the first session. Anyone wants to summarize? Lumbuka, are you able to summarize? I see Dr. Vinkumbo hasn't yet joined.
Yeah, maybe today I'll pass Rev because I'm still not at my best.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, you're not well. Get well soon. Sorry for that. Who wants to try? Leonard? JC, you are welcome. Miss Nkowani, you are welcome. Who wants to try and summarize? Mwape, maybe go try and summarize a bit before I move on. I think time is not with us.
Okay. So firstly, I think I would like to appreciate the first part of the meeting, which was, I think, so amazing. The points that stood out to me were the appreciation of the fact that life has to be in balance, the physical life and the spiritual life. And you gave examples of how on the physical aspect, we have scientists who are trying to help us understand the physical realities of life through new discoveries that they're making. But life cannot be lived on the physical aspect alone. There has to be a spiritual aspect. And the spiritual aspect of life requires a spiritual guide, a spiritual person who's going to enlighten you on the spiritual matters. And you went on to actually explain to say the society we're living in, it's like people have become so imbalanced, where we think like acquiring more material possessions means you live in a better life. And you gave examples of saying people acquire things like vehicles, acquiring maybe more properties like houses, thinking their lives will become better by acquiring those things. But from the experience and the teachings that you've given us, we do now understand to say that does not, acquiring more material things does not assure one to live a happy life. A happy life will come as a result of growth. So growing in terms of growth in terms of virtue, growth in terms of the moral aspects of our lives. So once we have that balance, and as well as the spiritual aspect, then we'll be able to see life from a balanced point of view. So I think in a nutshell, these are some of the few points that I actually jotted down from the first session. And also to appreciate the other point that you mentioned, to say we should not be using words out of like it's just fashionable. You are using words that you do not understand the meaning of the words. And you cited very good examples to say that most words that are used in English are actually acrimony words. And these words actually have a deeper meaning behind them. For example, you use the word Negro. People oftentimes we call ourselves, no, nigga, nigga, nigga. We do not fully understand what that means. And from the explanation you gave to say the word Negro means negative growth. So people who have a negative view about life and a negative view about themselves. And oftentimes in the past, we saw how a certain group of people were referred to as Negroes. And you did emphasize to say that Negro has nothing to do with the skin color of a person. Negro is the mindset, a retarded mindset. And the moment you come from that negative growth aspect, then you actually be elevated to a higher form of life. And you did emphasize to say that we have 4 groups of people that make up the humanity that we have on earth. We have the yellow people, we have the brown people, we have the white people, and we have black people. But black people, because in the past they were so ignorant about the realities, how they lived life, how they perceived life, so they were being referred to as Negroes. But after they started becoming enlightened with the truth, then they were elevated to be called black people. And the revelation that you gave us from Ezekiel to say, on the whirlwind, there were four creatured wings, and those 4 creatured wings represents the humanity that we have, that have to be connected, that have to become one. So the black person cannot survive minus a white person. The white person cannot survive minus the yellow person. The yellow person cannot survive minus the brown person. We are all supposed to be one as humanity. So I think in a nutshell, that's what I can say from the first session. I submit.
Brilliant. That's awesome. Yeah, you said it the way it was laid down. Thank you very much, Moape. We are in on next session. I'll be moving forward. I just wanted to give an opportunity for people to just reflect on the first session. If for those who want to say something, Brian, what was catching for you in the first session?
Yeah, I think Moape has mentioned a lot of things that were said. But again, I would also want to echo what you mentioned. You said we are our best counselors. If we are only very, very honest with ourselves, we don't need to search for answers from outside. We are our best counselors. That one was very catchy, and I really loved it.
Awesome. Exactly. Yeah, that's very brilliant also, Brian. Yeah, let's just keep listening to these words and let's apply them in our lives. Let's be the change in the micro level. Remember, our micro point of change is our household, is ourselves, and this Zoom platform. Any other person wants to say something? Ezra, giving an opportunity to people to say something. Ezra, you want to say something?
Yeah, just to add on from what Mr. Mansa said, you know, there's a point that you stated, which was stating that humanity is a family. So meaning that we need to lift one another. And then you even gave an example in the Bible where Moses lifted the children of Israel. So meaning that as a family, since humanity is a family, we need to lift humanity.
Awesome.
And then you also gave an example to say, and then there's another point which you said to say people, they prefer to lie than to face reality. And then you also gave an example to say, even when we enter into a different year, even our emotions, they get transitioned, how everything changes. But that's not actually reality. It's how we've been brainwashed. Yeah. And then there's also another thing that you said. You gave an example on in the Bible about Ezekiel, when the vision of Ezekiel, where they saw, I don't know how you said that it was signifying 4 types of lace. So these 4 types of lace, they must be connected to the truth. But this time they are not connected to the truth because we have done so much evil to each other.
Of course.
Okay. And then you also stated to say the truth is not made, we must discover. So meaning that we have to labor ourselves to discover the truth,
Yes.
And then you also mentioned a very valid point to say, sometimes we tend to have problems in our lives because we live in a wicked world.
Yes.
So meaning that we need to find the right person for advice.
Yes.
But when you're advising someone, we are not supposed to impose our own temperament on other people. And then most of the people you find that they tend in this universe where we live in, because it's corrupt, it's wicked, you find that a lot of people, they tend to impose their own temperament on other people.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's what I add.
Brilliant. Wow. First session was people were very attentive. Thank you very much for those echoes, brethren. Those are very good echoes, but let's go further and begin to apply them in our lives. And let's be a part of this household. Let's be together. Thank you very much. Nice, nice summary, Brian and Ezra. Yeah, I also affirm with you, Mwape. Any other person who wants to say something? Doctor, do you want to say something? You are free to say something.
These guys have really exhausted.
Yes.
But I just liked and appreciated where you were talking about every day that moves, we're getting closer to the Messiah's period,
Yes.
which is a period where we yearn for the truth.
Yes.
This resonated well because I was looking at the reality of today. It's different when we were at a level where we were just believing, but people have started yearning for something more without even realizing in the day-to-day life and trying to debunk certain things, which we don't even understand. And it made sense when you said this, that in this period we'll all start yearning for the truth.
Yes.
And that's the only way man will get better, when we start knowing the truth. So which was emphasizing that we need to grow from our micro growth first, which is here where we are meeting.
Yes.
And then now we also have a cause. Like, I'm appreciating that it's not only about listening, but it's also our duty to start reaffirming and re-educating the world.
Exactly.
That's the only way we'll begin to get better and grow morally and virtually. Yes, that was what I appreciated the most.
Awesome. You guys have been good today. I think this year is very promising. We're going to have a very sweet family. We're going to have people who are going to be there and support in all aspects this family, because we need to grow. Remember, I told you our target is for us to create a household, a place, a physical place where people from all walks of life will come and listen to this. They'll come and listen to you give this wisdom to the world. The world is yearning. Like Doc has said, people are beginning to want the truth. So we need to prepare a place for them to come and listen to this truth. That's why I'm appealing and I'm reaffirming my words to you, that let's all come on board. Let's leave what we're doing. You can't be plowing, you can't be on the plow and looking behind. You hate yourself. So any other person wants to say something, even if you have joined in today, if you have something to say, please, you're welcome. But if you're not, it's fine. We have someone on Techno phone. They are free to say something. And Miss Nkowani, you are free to say something, and we'll pray for you. I know you're not well. Lumbuka has written something, amazing summaries from you all. Today, not too well, can't participate much. So does anyone want to say something? Going. All right, let's continue. Okay.
Maybe in the interest of time, we can proceed, and then at the end we can give a chance to others.
Okay. All right. So I was saying, yeah, like Bran echoed also. I was saying, this time in our days, because of what is happening today, if we are having a problem on our hands, we want help. We cannot simply ask somebody. We cannot take it over the fence with a neighbor or to a friend. these are not the ways in which we can hope to find the solutions now. Of course, the first problem I mentioned, which Brian has explained nicely also, the first problem you need to understand is when you're faced with difficulties, is to look inside yourself. If you can be completely honest with yourself, that's what you're saying, you are the best counselor you ever have. But many people are not capable of that degree of impersonality. People are liars. People tend to gravitate towards evil. But we need to have a group of people in our midst who can do that. You know, even me, every person is a sinner. Today also is a turning point for me. The turning point for you. Every day we meet is a new day to do the right thing. It's, you know, every day is a day to glorify, I mean, to celebrate. It's a birthday. Every day we are before the truth. We are being born again. We need to celebrate. I'm happy. I'm celebrating that I have a chance to do things right. So people are bound to sit on one end of the scale where they weigh a problem. Instead of following the truth of a problem, they follow the implication that they wish to recognize. They want to find a right destiny. But if the problem arises, every individual should be able to say to himself, everyone, when the problem comes your way, you have to say to yourself, have I done everything possible to solve this problem? To what degree am I at fault in a critical situation that is developing? You start asking yourself those questions. It is much better to do this yourself than to pay $1,000 for an analyst or a psychiatrist to do it for you. And it may come up exactly with the same answer you would have come up when you introspected yourself. But the question first of all is that, can we solve it ourselves? When you have a problem, you have to ask the first question, can you solve it yourself? It only comes to the Son of Man when you have exhausted and you're honest and you need you truly need help. But usually people come to the man of God because they're the ones to reaffirm their own decision, their own wrong decision. So, brethren, like the Bible says, I should call you brethren in the first book of John. Brethren, mothers, says to the elders, call them fathers. To the older women, mothers. To the younger women, sisters. To the young men, brethren. So brethren, sisters, fathers, mothers. The individual has to curb his own appetites. That's what destroys us. He has to put certain restrictions upon his own ambitions. He must live within an area of his own available intelligence. And if he does not do this, he is bound ultimately to come to difficulties in this life. That's why we have difficulties. Actually, we are all in this world to solve problems ourselves. I'm going to reaffirm that. Brian, everyone, Brother Mutema, Moape, Ezra, Doctor, we are in this world to solve problems ourselves. If you are not capable of solving your problems, you will always be having difficulties in your life. Now, in a complicated civilization such as we live in now, it's not always possible to do this alone. That is a fact. So we must call in help. We must do various things that will assist us in protecting our integrities and our normal rights and our responsibilities. And you must begin to estimate the kind of person that can help you. That's why I say, if it's me, stay here. If it's not me, find another. So we are actually in trouble because we have opened ourselves to injury when we are choosing wrong advisors or we are advising ourselves.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Chimwe.
We must find someone who we know to be qualified of the problem we want to solve. The problem of spirituality in this case, who is qualified in your own way of looking at things. You see, a person that's why I said the elder must be like a father, a parent in the spiritual things. For people who be with me, I will make sure I'll fight hard to be a parent to you. A parent must be a careful thinker on a number of subjects. And I think I've demonstrated that on few of the subjects. I'm still growing with you. I've told you several times, give me chance. I know people will tell you evil things about me, but I'm human. Give me chance. I will be a father you have always asked for in time. We will grow together. A parent must be a careful thinker on a number of subjects. And I have demonstrated that on some of the subjects. A person that gives advice must be well informed in an area where that advice is needed. And every day I give you informed information. We don't come here to sing songs and dance and do rituals of speaking to the clouds. 1 Timothy 3:2, a bishop then must be blameless. So that's where we need to be, all of us. We need to be blameless, going towards blameless. The husband of one wife. You can't have two wives. If you can't have girlfriends, you can't fornicate. You can't do that. You see? So a bishop then must be blameless, the husband of one wife, vigilant, sober. That's why we don't take alcohol. For those who ask me, Pastor, is alcohol a sin? It will sober. Many things make you drunk. Alcohol, bad habits, bad activities, all those things. So he must be sober, of good behavior. Every one of us in this group must have good behavior. Even where we are with friends, they should see that we have got good behavior, good manners, given to hospitality. Timothy says, apt to teach, ready to teach, because his life is a lesson, not to teach by mouth, your behavior. And the servant of the Lord, verse 24. 2 Timothy 2:24 says, and the servant of the Lord must not strive, but be gentle unto all men, apt to teach, patient. So we need to begin to understand the words I am always saying to you. So all solutions, everything you come up with, everything you decide, all decisions you make against your brother, against the environment, against everything, all solutions must be according to integrities. We don't want to give advice and realize later that our advice made that problem worse. For example, you will ruin people's lives by your haste advice. And don't be hasty to give advice. If you can't, give it to a person who is able to. In this case, in our case, it's me in the spiritual ways. You see? Because when you break the truth I've told you, breaking rules is the source of suffering. Somewhere in the great teachings of mankind, this world is wonderful if you posture and position yourself towards truth. Because somewhere in the great teachings of mankind, there is an answer to your problem. Always we have to understand motive, because that's what determines the consequences of our actions. We have a right to try and make honest citizens out of our children. And that's what I'm trying to do, to make honest citizens out of you. You also do that to your own children at home. You must be prepared to die the way you want to live. You die for your truth. Don't lie to make yourself comfortable. You must be prepared to die the way you want to live. Depend more and more upon the spirit in you and less upon your appetite. People get millions of money because of their appetite, but their spirit, they are making other people suffer in turn. Do not try to get along with a false notion for which you may give your life, for which you may sacrifice your happiness or break the responsibilities you have with family and home. Never compromise principle, because human beings demand it. Every human being, they demand the principle in you. If they're going to follow you or respect you, it's because you're a man of principle. So never compromise principle, because human beings demands it. The Bible says, whatever you reap, you sow. It's a karma. Karma is a gentle reminder that you have done it wrong and need to correct it. So even when you reap and sow wrong, karma, the situation you're in, the problem that, like I told you, if bad things will only make us understand that you have done it wrong and need to correct it. You are not ill because you were predestined to be sick, but you are sick because you have broken the rules. For example, doctors will tell you, you have got corona. Where did you go during Christmas Eve? We went for crossover. We went to a concert. You have got corona because you broke the rules. So you are not ill because, these are wise words, because you are not ill because you are predestined to be sick, but you are sick because you have broken the rules. So we need to begin to do, and stop worrying too much. Put your mind to do the right things. Worrying is a negative situation. It impairs your success and your health. Even your health will be affected. Lamentation 3:39. Wherefore doth a living man complain, a man for the punishment of his sins? Remember I told you, you are sick because you've broken the rules. We will never be happy until we will begin to do the simple things well. These are simple things which we need to begin to do well, Ezra, Moape, everyone. We will never be happy until we begin to do the simple things well. And when we conquer the simple things, we will realize the difficult things. We will realize that difficult things aren't even necessary. Are we together? Amen. I know I do not have much time. I want us to discuss, we are going into the new year. I want us to talk more, ask questions more, or people to give us strength to make us, to edify us. But you understand that. You see, I know we are remaining with about 5 minutes. So you need also to understand that life is not a destiny. That's why, because you think life is destiny, you want to demand, life is a journey. When you do it today, even if the result is bad, try it again. Try again. Keep going. Forget about the end result. You haven't reached the end yet. Why do you think about the end when you think about the hurdles in your way? So with those few words, I want to end here. I would love to hear people talk. Any questions? We've got a few minutes, 5 minutes. Mwape, you want to say something? Do you have any housekeeping before others come in?
No, not at the moment, but I just wanted to say we have about 11 minutes.
Oh, we have 11 minutes. Wow, we are rich. Okay, so any questions? I can maybe put something, say something on that. I was thinking maybe we are stopping at 10:50, Mwape, that's what you told us. So 10:50 is 4 minutes more. So that's what I was following your time keeping.
Indeed.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So a gentle reminder to everyone to say, starting this year, we are trying by all possible means to be a bit punctual when it comes to the commencement of time for our household discussions, and so that this will provide room for us to actually finish on time and also leave time for further discussions if need be. And secondly, we're just encouraging everyone to be consistent so that it can be easier for you to follow with the discussions. Not today you're here and tomorrow you're not here. It's very easy to derail on the path of the truth without consistency. So we're asking for consistency in that regard. And thirdly, would like to encourage everyone to be able to give contributions. Contribution can be in any form, monetary or any other form that you feel you can actually assist the household and make it grow. I think one of the foremost principles that Rev did emphasize was the aspect of growth. So we grow spiritually, we grow virtually, we grow morally, and we want this household to grow. And we can only grow when there is concerted effort by everyone, by every member. So we are asking for your contributions if you are able to. I think these are just some few points that I thought I could share with the household and anyone who has joined us for the first time today. Rev, take it back to you.
Okay, thanks. So how many minutes now? 10 still?
We still have a couple of some minutes.
Okay.
Yes.
So then we can discuss a few words. Unless another person has something to say, anyone, you are free, very free to say something. Even those who have said something already, they can still say something. Ezra, do you want to say to agree with Mwape?
Maybe just to add on, probably because we normally use this as an online platform, and so we rarely have that time to physically interact, which means, just to re-echo what Mwape has said, we may have to just be a bit intentional with just being a family, being there for each other, just like what you mentioned to us in the first session, that no man is an island. We are supposed to be our neighbor's keeper, our sister's keeper, our brother's keeper. So because we don't have the opportunity to physically meet every day, it's just important that even if we are virtually we are physically absent from each other, but if we could be virtually present for each other, I think that will be quite something quite progressive, and that will make all of us feel that we are not alone in whatever what challenges that we are facing. Yeah.
Exactly. I think those are very wise words, Mwape and Lumbuka. This thing has to grow, and it's up to us. Any other person wants to say something? You know, as Lumbuka is saying, because of Corona, maybe you cannot meet physically. Begin to call one another. Talk, ask each other, how are you? How are you doing? How are things? You know, how is your family? Get to know one another. It's a pity you are so much connected to the people who are not growing with physically. Any other contribution? Leonard?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
maybe it's more like a, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, so for me, maybe it's more like a question in regards to what you've said today, like are things getting better? You said the things are getting better. We need to grow morally and spiritually.
And virtually,
upright.
Yes.
Things are getting better. But now I was thinking about things like family in the African context, because I know the Western world has put up their own way of doing things, which for me is more like breaking the family. So how are we going to reconcile the two? Because there are, maybe in the olden days, you would find that they are seated around the fire, discussing things. And in that way, the family is bonding and they help each other with all these problems. But what is happening now is it's each man for himself. Mm-hmm. You find you are on your own, your brother is there, your sister is there, your friend is there, and you want to do things on your own. So how do we reconcile the two? Because I remember you said God is making a change by restoring the world to its origin. So now what is the origin and which path should we take?
Okay.
Because the truth is what it is, isn't it?
Yes.
So are we, yeah.
Mm.
Are we moving away from following another way to get to that point?
Okay. Yeah, so if I know you've been following, it begins with a micro, like I was saying. Even what everyone has been talking about now, that we need to begin that fireside chat you're talking about, Brother Leonard. It can also begin from this Zoom talk. It's part of the fireside chat where we talk, inculcate good manners in each other. It will begin with us. Remember, 1 Peter 4:17 or 19, it says judgment has begun at the house of the Lord first. It has begun in the minds of people who know the truth. Remember, what you're saying is the same thing as saying, who is going to bring in the 7,000-year period? The Bible says the Son of Man is the Lord of the Sabbath. You are. So and I'm glad you have that burden in you to see the old ways come back, where we have a place where we can sit as the 4 types of human beings to discuss issues and help one another. This is going to begin. That's why this household, this type of arrangement is very important to the economy, to your economy and the economy of the world. It's going to begin from us. That's why we're saying, let's have this household transformed to be a place where it's family, not by word. We don't just meet every Sunday. Sometimes some of you will say, guys, let's have a Zoom connection since we can't meet and just chat. And let everyone pour out how they're thinking and what they're thinking. Sometimes I might not be there or I might be there. So it will begin with us, Brother Mutema. That's why, that's the burden I have, the burden you are feeling. This is why we are saying the household, we need to create a physical place also to where people will come and learn these things. And from that physical place, you brothers who are growing up, you'll be leaving town. You're going to duplicate these things in other towns. And other people will come from other countries to duplicate what we are doing. And I'm very sure the Bible is very true. It says truth is going to win over wickedness. We are not the only people who are thinking in this line. There are other people in the world. The Bible says, though, is it Elijah? He thought he was alone. He thought, how am I going to actualize change? He says, Lord, they have killed all the prophets. God told him, my friend, I'm not a God of limitation. I have reserved over 7,000 people who have not bowed to falsehood. So how are we going to do that is a question we must all answer. That is the burden we all have, Brother Mutema. That is why we need to come together and create this thing we're calling the household. I don't know if that makes sense, or another person wants to assist. Brother Mutema, or did I not hear your question? Or you want?
Sorry, so I just wanted to actually read out loud the scripture that you mentioned.
Yes.
That is First Peter chapter 4 verse 17.
Yes.
The scripture reads, "For the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of God.
Yes.
And it is first begin at us. What shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of God?" So I think in line with the response that you gave and in line with the question that was raised, to say we do understand the truth. So the truth is for reconciliation of the world.
Yes.
And because we are looking forward to be one as it was in the beginning. So then we are the ones who are understanding this truth and what it takes to be at that level of living in harmony. So then, as the scripture puts it, to say, judgment begins with those who know the truth already.
Yes.
So we first, the first step, we initiate the call, and then thereafter, I think others are going to follow through the similar process after they've seen how we've taken on the path to righteousness and to reconciliation. I think that was an additional point, Rev.
Yeah, brilliant. That's exactly. And you know, Bram Tema, you realize that what you're saying is true. Is it Isaiah 60 also says the whole world is in darkness, in total darkness. It says the whole world, but it says you